A useful strategy for developing teacher identity through reflective practice is the Socratic Method. The Socratic Method is essentially aimed at developing understanding. Socrates developed an approach to questioning reality based on a thorough understanding of skills for questioning and exploring, cross-examining evidence in order to arrive at the truth, the truth of a situation. And what the reflective practitioner can do is use the Socratic method, and in particular use questions within the Socratic method to help the reflective practice process. It is essentially not focused on developing knowing from not knowing, but as a process in itself, it's about developing thinking skills and developing the ability to reason thoroughly and deeply. And it's through this deep and thorough reasoning that the reflective practitioner will be able to explore very deeply the experiences that they have and the assumptions and the suppositions that they have about those experiences. And in this light, the Socratic method is useful for the reflective practitioner in terms of reframing the concepts that they have and reframing thinking about experiences. It is essentially a thinking tool and therefore very helpful in developing critical thinking skills for the reflective practitioner. And what we need to do is consider the questions that are involved in the Socratic method. There are 6 questions that we can consider. First of all, the question about which topic to actually choose to question, and how this is useful to explore for the reflective practitioner. The next question that we will be looking at as reflective practitioners using the Socratic method is what examples can we find? Which questions do we ask in order to find the right examples to help us explore the experience? The next question that the reflective practitioner will use using this method are questions around trying to find the correct examples that fit the topic most appropriately. And then the next question is looking at the examples and explaining those examples. It could be explaining verbally, it could be explaining in written form. And then the final 2 questions, what is perhaps significant to realize with questions in the Socratic method is that these final 2 questions are where most of the thinking will take place and where real learning begins to occur. The 5th question is actually examining the underlying principles and the suppositions of the experience that the reflective practitioner is looking at. And then finally, how to generalize from all this questioning, how to actually make a broad understanding from specific experiences. And this is known as regression abstraction. We can look at the Socratic method diagrammatically, and it's useful to understand for the reflective practitioner to see that the Socratic method relies on questioning and answering continually back and forth. And through questioning and answering, the reflective practitioner will begin to interpret situations, experiences very thoroughly, very deeply, and so then come to much more detailed and useful understanding of those experiences.